Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your back garden. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum. You're a bum.
I want to unify. Is he up for the challenge? Like I said, I can play war. You know, this is not a battle, this is war because I was born in this.
Why am I sitting there like a spare dick that way? While you are sitting in your mum's spare rooms, just tickling your bollocks.
Come see me, baby. No more hiding, no more ducking, no more dodging, no more excuses. Let's make the fight happen. Let's see who's the best. I know I'm the best. Are you up for the test?
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview. What are you talking about? You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Negative. I'm good. I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
Fucking was too fast. But it wasn't so much about it, was just that he was so fucking fast. Fast.
Amazingly fast.
Fucking amazingly fast. I was like, I thought Freddie was in there fucking hitting me too. So.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast from iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Going to be talking all things boxing today. IBFing, so to speak, and wanting to enforce their rules before anyone really cares about them as a whole, and wants to strip Canelo Alvarez, which is just a weird storyline that we've talked about. That's another sort of monkey wrench into what the hell is Canelo Alvarez doing, the curious case of Alvarez at this point. Plus, DAZN coming out and basically affirming what we all knew and what we all sort of speculated, that they were going to go after the NFL deal in 2020 when their NFL Sunday ticket is up. A lot to sort of address with that topic. Dana White has come out, and obviously Dana White in talks with PBC, WME Endeavor with PBC, and Waddell and Reed for a buyout of PBC in the last sort of few months, and probably going to be going on for the next, year or so. Dana White has come out and said sort of his plans to, quote, fix boxing. So let's get into some of those as well. Plus, fights this weekend. We're going to break down, preview all the news of the boxing world today. It's going to be a long show. So sit down, relax, get some popcorn, a drink, whatever you need to relax with. And it's going to be a long one. But, of course, joined as usual on these shows, the one and only, the notorious, the second cousin twice removed of Sir Eddie, Mr. Robbie Hearn, yourself. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. There's some news has come in, after the title was written, but interesting stuff. We'll tell you all about it, obviously. But yeah, obviously in the chat, hit that thumbs up, share the show. Let's make it a lively one. Although Matt recently has been on very much of a boxing downer.
Hey, man.
The politics has become too much. We just want to see fights, but on a plus note, the one and only Charles Martin is fight week. So
Charles Martin fight week, people.
In honor of Matt.
Fuck that shit. Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
Yo, mainline that quote to me, please. Straight to the vein. Charles Martin's a whole mood.
Charles Martin, great. Oh dear. I'll get people to watch you. Get you through it.
Charles Martin is what Oliver McCall is to us before he is 20 years past his prime. Charles Martin's already hit that stage in my mind as just being a legend. But digressing, Rob, we have so much to get to, so let's not waste any more time. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/MixedCombat But the IBF sort of announcement that, hey, we could strip Canelo because they've ordered the purse bid now for Canelo Alvarez and Sergey Derevchenko. Everyone inside the industry is under the assumption that Canelo doesn't want to fight Sergey Derevchenko and doesn't really give a shit about the IBF belt. And it seems like we're going to get at least a Triple G Derevchenko fight in the fall, around October, for the vacant strap. And Canelo Alvarez is still heavily going after Sergey Kovalev. We'll get to that part in a bit. But to sort of isolate the IBF aspect to this story, Rob, were you as surprised by this news as I was? Because I saw this and I was like, huh, this is boxing. So I wasn't totally surprised. I mean, we've lived in the era of Tyson Fury being stripped, obviously, of the IBF belt when he was going into the Vladimir Klitschko rematch. So this isn't anything new, honestly. And they've done it to big names in big fights before. I just think that at some point, people, we need to stop championing the IBF as some sort of sanctioning body that actually adheres to their rules. Because when they do adhere to their rules, a la Carlos Ocampo, a la this situation, a la Tyson Fury of Vladimir Klitschko, it is obviously materially detrimental to boxing. Rob, your thoughts on the IBF stripping Canelo, most likely the Derevchenko purse bid, Golovkin fighting Derevchenko now in October, all of the sort of moving news of the day.
Well, I believe I listened to, I can't remember the other podcast, but I believe that IBF did contact Golden Boy regarding that this was coming, or this was likely to be, they were going to be calling the mandatory. But whether there was a response or whatever, I don't know. And whether they should have put in for an exemption already, maybe it's too late. But I mean, I don't know whether, like you said, we'll talk about it, but Kovalev definitely seems to be the target. But maybe, I mean, if he wants to keep the title, maybe they could try and make the Andrade fight as it's a unification, and then that would trump a mandatory. I don't know, but I think at this moment in time, Canelo is sort of the bouts don't really matter. In some regard, I don't mind the IBF because this is Canelo and they're going to strip him. Oh my God. Any other sanctioning body would be like, no, we're not doing that. We want that Canelo money, but they're kind of this is our rules. This is what's happening. So in one regard, you kind of respect it. But when I first saw the news, I was like, oh, so we're going to see fucking Derevchenko. The guy he had a eliminator.
When was the Jacobs fight? Was that last year, obviously?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it summertime last year, I want to say, right? It was June-ish, July.
Interestingly, DAZN Akabarak done a day, followed Eddie Hearn for a day, and they asked him, what's the most you have lost on a show? And Jacobs Derevchenko was the biggest losing money show that Eddie Hearn's put on. But yeah, Derevchenko obviously got himself into the position to fight Jacobs, or they fought for the vacant title, lost. Was it his next fight back was an eliminator? So he's straight back in the picture. Yeah, and now he's having another crack at it, within the space of a year. It's very strange, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
He's had one fight in between the Daniel Jacobs fight and now. That's it. He's only had one fight.
And that was an IBF eliminator.
It doesn't mark that here, but I think so. It was the Jack Kelkay fight.
Yeah.
I think it was an IBF eliminator. I'm trying to remember. It doesn't state on BoxRec, but I think you're right.
In Twitter, people are like, what? He's just lost in a... It should have been, further down the rankings. You take a loss. There's a bit of a road back, not literally one fight later, you're back in there. But...
Leonard with the super chat saying, test to see if it robs me. Won't be doing it again. Okay, Leonard. Anyways, Sergey Derevchenko, I think I don't care about him in the title picture. He's almost in that, unfortunately, that Jamal Charlo stage for me. It's I understand you're talented, but why are we talking about you fighting Canelo? Canelo can fight Triple G, who's a longtime champion, has far more accolades in the division than the two people we're talking about. Or Andrade, who actually has a belt. You know, like, and why are we talking about? And actually, has a decent win against Litsky, honestly. Even though I think the performance was pretty dull and boring, it was obviously a clinic. So I just think that Sergey Derevchenko in this fight being a mandatory, being in this position is another sign of sanctioning bodies having bullshit rankings, right? Like we constantly hear people in the mandatory status that really shouldn't be a mandatory and shouldn't be involved in upsetting big fights. You know, talking about how far away we are from an undisputed champion in the middleweight division, here's another fucking step we are to separate that out. Versus the franchise tag and that separation with the WBC. Now it's this. It just gets frustrating at some point. You know, like, again, another sign that the sanctioning bodies cannot be trusted in any way because innately they are not helping the sport. Even when they pretend to adhere to the rules and be strict to it, we still get Carlos Ocampo being a mandatory. We still get Sergey Derevchenko being a mandatory after only one fight against Jack Kelkay, who was a fucking career junior middleweight. You know, I just don't care to see this at all. I will say this, Triple G Derevchenko, that's a fine matchup. I'm okay with that. It just shouldn't have a title attached to it at all.
Interestingly, that fight could have already happened, but Triple G didn't want that fight, so he dropped the belt and fought Varnes, right?
Sorry, what was that?
I said Triple G Derevchenko could have happened already, but he dropped the belt to go and fight Varnes.
Yeah, I know.
It's come round, and I mean, in a way, Canelo said, "Go and do something. Go and get a title." Mm-hmm. So, you know, as much as DAZN maybe wanted that trilogy, maybe it's going to happen just maybe May next year over the. But, you know, hopefully Canelo says, "You can't strip me because I vacate." It's that whole "you can't fire me because I quit" kind of thing. But if we strip you before you vacate, it's like you can't quit because we've already fired you. We said it first. So, but yeah, this whole saga. I mean, look, had it been what was it on Saturday? Was 10 weeks until Canelo's supposed to fight last Saturday. So they need to make an announcement soon and actually promote and, you know, give a chance to sell tickets. And
I'm telling you, man, my theory that Canelo is just going to take a cosmetic knee injury or surgery and take the month off. I'm telling you, we're running out of time here. But then again, we're also in the era of, like, remember Mayweather used to do this all the time. He would wait till like 5 weeks out from a fight and then announce it, right? McGregor fight was like that. I think the Andre Berto fight was like that. I think there's another one in recent memory that was like that. Was it Robert Guerrero? Oh, no, it wasn't that one. Which one was it? Maybe it was Maidana. But anyways, like we are in this era, like the big names can do that because they're the big names.
Maybe DAZN need a little bit more of a run at it.
No, I absolutely agree with you. No. Yeah. I think that they should obviously announce it, 12 weeks out, 13 weeks out to promote it properly. I've always been of that mindset. But fighters, the big fighters do this. Like, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just the reality. So we're still within the window that Canelo could announce a fight for the September date. We are getting closer, though, to where there's a cutoff point where you no longer can really make a big Canelo fight within 3 weeks, 4 weeks time. We're not there yet, but we're about a month out from really that point. Still on Canelo, though, talking about his next fight still. Obviously, it's not going to be Derevchenko because none of the reporting is of Canelo's like, oh, right, now to fight Derevchenko in September. It's all, no, fake. Get stripped.
I think even DAZN would say, just drop the belt. We're not putting that shit on. I don't know. That's maybe giving Derevchenko a bit of a disservice. But
No. It's apt. No, he has one fight since Daniel Jacobs dominated him. We forget that. Daniel Jacobs put on a performance against Derevchenko to the point where, like, ooh, how good is Daniel Jacobs? And then Canelo dominated Daniel Jacobs. So, no, Derevchenko's not there yet, in my opinion. But a guy that is still, quote, there with Canelo in terms of negotiations is Sergey Kovalev. It is quite apparent that name is what they are after. And from a bunch of reporting from Chris Mannix, which we're kind of going to breeze through in the last couple days, Mannix says Golden Boy has increased its offer to Sergey Kovalev in an effort to finalize a deal for Kovalev to defend his lightweight heavyweight title against Canelo Alvarez in September. And then he follows that up, and this was July 8th. He said, the offer to Kovalev is still underwhelming to Kovalev's team. Per source, one option Kovalev's promoter, Main Events, would like to pursue a multi-fight agreement with DAZN. Then today, Chris Mannix reported, in an effort to find enough money to close a Canelo-Kovalev fight, Main Events has engaged Eddie Hearn in discussions on a multi-fight deal. Sources familiar with the discussions told Sports Illustrated. Hearn is interested and the two sides are exchanging proposals. I'm curious how Eddie Hearn is now involved in these negotiations for a Canelo fight. And I bet Oscar just loves that. Also, sorry, hold on one second. Last tweet from Chris Mannix. For Main Events, securing a comeback fight or fights for Kovalev could swing the pot enough to come to agreement with Golden Boy on Canelo. Also, I think Chris Mannix later tweeted before the show just started that the baseline Kovalev's team is looking at is the $12 million that Daniel Jacobs received, which is, I think, completely fair of them to be asking maybe even for more than that, obviously. Maybe even 20 million. Like, they're asking for a lot, and I can see why. They have some leverage here, it seems. Rob, I'm just go to you first with your opinion on all of this, because I'm still sort of confused why we're still hearing Kovalev, Canelo. Like, I don't want this fight. Like, the more we talk about, the more I don't want it.
I don't know. I'm really intrigued by it personally.
I hate you.
You hate me? Oh, it's harsh. But very quick, let's just take us back to the 29th of June. Eddie Hearn, let me worry about Canelo and his next opponent, which doesn't involve you. Oscar, the petty has come back to bite your ass. Looks like Cousin Eddie's going to have to come in and save the day.
That turns me on. That really makes me horny.
So, no, interesting.
Oscar's somewhere like.
Sometimes I feel discouraged.
It's okay, Oscar, man. It's okay, man.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Ramon in the super chat. Thank you, man. $1.
Thank you. And Leonard. Just Matt was talking when
I said Leonard's, right? I did.
Yeah, you said it, but I didn't get to just say, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, Kovalev, I'm intrigued by it. I know you're not so, but it's. I know people say, "Oh, he's picking him because of Dimitri Bivol threw his name in the hat today."
We're not talking about Dimitri Bivol. Raise your profile, man. Honestly,
I'm just saying. But that is he's not that known, but that is a much younger, hungrier fighter than Kovalev, which could be issues and probably why Canelo's looking more at Kovalev because he's coming to the end of his career. But I like it. I think I don't know, what a ballsy move, 160-pounder going up 2 divisions to take on a champ. And it's not, a regular champ or anything like that. It's, a full-blown champ, but interesting that Eddie's involved and they're looking at signing, in a way, regarding Bivol, if they do sign Kovalev to a 3-fight deal, that makes more sense of Bivol being on DAZN and linked with DAZN and light heavyweight. There's suddenly another champion there to because it was like Beterbiev went the other way as soon as Bivol came.
Now I can see why Eddie Hearn's involved.
Yeah,
because Eddie Hearn was involved in the Bivol negotiations, from what I remembered.
He's got Bivol.
Yeah, but not he doesn't have it. It's co-promoted. With main events. With main events. Yeah. So that's why. Okay, now I see why. I totally forgot Bivol was on DAZN. I keep thinking it was on ESPN.
I thought was it Joe Smith Jr. Right?
Yep. No, I makes all sense now. I can see why Eddie Hearn's involved. I can see what fights they're trying to sort of line up for Kovalev post Canelo on DAZN. I would assume probably a tune-up or 2, and then Bivol is the big fight, and sort of like a 4-fight, 5-fight deal with DAZN is probably what they're looking at. And we have known for a while now that Main Events has been looking for a deal. Even if it's a small deal, they're looking for a streaming deal, for a network deal, something to survive on. I forget who posted an article maybe a few months ago. Maybe it was like Jake Donovan, someone like that
Was
posted.
it NBC they were trying to?
Well, obviously the NBC deal fell through last year, right? And then they've been linked with ESPN for like in a sense. We know a lot of their fighters are on ESPN fighting. A couple on DAZN. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to leverage a Kovalev deal with a main events deal, something like that. They have to. And in this day and age, you need a streaming or network deal to survive in this marketplace. But digressing from that, I'm still of the mindset Canelo doesn't fight just because that was my first preliminary prediction, so I'm sticking to it. He doesn't fight in September. We get Munguia, guys. Sorry, because that's how boxing is. I'm being a pessimist. And Kovalev stays on ESPN. However, they are definitely going after Kovalev heavily and with serious offers. And it seems like main events and Kovalev are serious about looking into a Canelo fight. When first it didn't seem like they were serious. So we are closer to a Canelo Kovalev fight in September than ever before, and I hate that idea. God.
Wow.
How many Spence Mikey Garcias do we need to see, guys? How many Loma Rigos do we need to see? Sick of it.
I hear you, but yeah, fuck it, that'd be great. Legacy fight. Like I said, I don't think it's not about bouts anymore. Maybe moving up and claiming titles at higher weight divisions is, he's kind of been there and done that middleweight division. It's just interesting, a while back he was like all of the bouts. It's all about all of the bouts, and he's not called out Andrade to unify.
Every fighter says that shit, man. That's anybody that says they're all about the belts they're fucking lying to themselves and lying to you. Speaking of lying to themselves, DAZN, to switch topics up, is telling themselves they're going to get this NFL deal, man. Okay, this Bloomberg article, which has a very interesting byline, of loss-making streaming service DAZN eyes NFL streaming rights. That's such the shade. There's a lot of detail in this. Like the U.S. Subscriber base is at 1.2 million now, and that seems a lot, to be honest. And they've said that ESPN's are hovering a little over 2 million. ESPN Plus, I should say, not ESPN. ESPN's like 80-something million.
I thought it was 300 million. It was in every home in America.
Get out of Tyson Fury. And obviously, the crux of this article is them going after the AT&T deal with the NFL. NFL being the National Football League is one of the biggest, if not the biggest sports property you can probably acquire in the U.S. It's America's top sport at this moment. The current deal, I think, is at like 1 billion, and the next deal, they're looking at is like 8 billion. So it's going to be this gigantic percentage increase. I am skeptical of DAZN winning out in this battle because obviously ESPN's going to be going after them heavily. I think they mentioned a couple of the Disney. Walt Disney is ESPN. Fox Sports will be going after Facebook, Amazon. Those are four gigantic companies that I do not see DAZN really competing with in the U.S. landscape right now. So for them to get the NFL live rights to the Sunday ticket, so to speak, would be insane. So again, DAZN, credit for you for trying. And, in the sort of description of this episode, I put DAZN, NFL, or bust. Because I do think it's sort of one of those things where they need the NFL, they need the NBA, they need one of those big sports, or it is a bust. I think we're going to get a bust, to be honest. But that's my opinion, very preliminary prediction. It's going to be interesting to see when these negotiations start. When all that news comes out. Because me, Rob, I love business rumors and shit like that when it comes to these big companies, so I'll be eating up all these articles. Rob, your opinion about some of DAZN's particular information about subscriber base, stuff like that, and also obviously them going after the big whale, which is the NFL.
I was back and forth with Keith Idek on this, and he wasn't so sure that ESPN would kind of be in. They've already got. I can't remember what he said exactly, but there's some kind of NFL content via ESPN, and they've got obviously some college football, this, that, and the other. Because this is, I think, what DAZN are after is like the baseball show that they've got, where they cut live to, I think as well. There's some certain live games shown.
Well, the baseball thing isn't live.
No, but they show some highlights and also
but
go
it's not
to certain.
I don't think any of it's live, from what I've seen. It's always highlights. So it's always like pre.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it's kind of like, it's not like the other channels, like tune in and it's this live game followed by that live game, or it's kind of like
it's a highlight show. It's a highlight show.
Yeah. But I think there is some live. I think Keith said something like, people that aren't shown in certain areas, like you can almost.
Well, here's what it is. The Sunday ticket. That's what you're trying to explain. I'm explaining to you because I live in the U.S. I know I have the Sunday ticket, so I know what it is. Okay. It allows you to watch every NFL game. So, like, let's say if I don't have the Sunday ticket and I want to watch the NFL right on Sunday or Monday, you only get the games that are in your local area. So it'd be like, for me, it'd be a Chargers, it'd be a Rams game, it'd be whatever team is local to me. That would be on the Fox, NBC, CBS. It'd be on one of those main channels, right? One of the free channels. And then the Sunday night game would be on like ESPN. Monday night would be on ESPN.
Yeah.
And that would be a national syndicated game. While like if I'm in South Carolina and I go on Fox and Sunday morning, I'm seeing Carolina Panthers play, not the Rams, right? While if I'm in California watching Fox, I'm watching the Rams play. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then NFL Sunday Ticket allows you to watch all those other games you don't get in your regional area live.
Okay.
That's what they're going after.
Yeah.
So it's not they're not going after the same thing as their MLB package, which they have right now. That's very different. And like me and Gary were talking about this. I think it was on the Patreon show. I don't know if it was on the free show. And he was talking about how, because he's a big baseball head and he loves their DAZN content for that, but he wishes it was live. He wishes it was a live show that they were cut to everything. Just a long like daily show. The NFL Sunday Ticket also includes that. It would be like the Red Zone is what it's called.
He mentioned it. That's another show that's
that would be attached to the Sunday Ticket probably.
Oh, okay. That's cheaper than the obviously.
It would be cheaper than Sunday Ticket, but I think right now it's packaged together. So I don't know if they're trying to depackage it, just like the NFL. Excuse me, is trying to depackage their linear TV and digital rights, live rights to their content.
Yeah.
So I don't know what NFL is going to be doing in 2020. It seems like they're going to be doing a lot, trying to change it up. But
the article says they've got to decide by September this year on the whether they stick with because they've got a get out clause and they're deciding whether to get out of this direct TV thing, which is currently running, or look to jump on with like this streaming, over the top sort of service. But speaking of Keith Idek, I don't know that he suggested that DAZN, a pretty good chance of getting it, but and obviously because I said to you it was on
I didn't get that vibe from him, by the way. I was reading the replies. I didn't get that vibe.
But I said to you on Championship Rounds, like this, if the 1.2 million US subscribers is true, I mean, shout out to DAZN. That's pretty great work in 7-8 months or 9 months. But I think that's approaching the peak that just purely boxing is going to bring in. I think that might be the top end of what they can do via their, what they're putting out as boxing content.
Yeah, it was Patreon, because you asked that question to me. Like, is that sort of their max reach they can get from a subscriber base? And I said absolutely, because that 1.2 million, I don't know if that's all boxing. I don't know if that's real. I think they might be mixing up numbers, to be honest. They're like, hey, great journalists make mistakes. I don't know if they were looking at like the worldwide viewership of the Canelo fight and got mixed up because, again, we saw 600,000 live in the U.S. see the Canelo fight. So this is double that. I don't know if Bellator brings that in. I don't know if Combat Des Americas. I don't know if the Change Up Show or all of them combined.
The article said the Change Up Show, and it's kind of a loose term, but it said it's brought in thousands of subscribers. Now that could be 5,000, it could be 100,000.
Exactly.
You know, it's tricky to know from the.
If it said hundreds of thousands, it'd be a better app. Like
yeah. But if the total number of 1.2 is true, then great. But they now need one of the big sports, and obviously football is the biggest in America. And if they land it, great. It's what they really need. But possibly other big players are going to come in for this. But I think the article kind of said, they've made contact. They've building sort of relationships. They already run the NFL. I think it's the same thing or similar in Canada, things like that. So there's relationships there. So we'll wait and see.
Again, my point has never been about NFL not wanting to zone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just whether others.
It's look. Canada is not the U.S. Canada doesn't have ESPN. Canada doesn't have Fox. Canada doesn't have. I think the imprint that Amazon has in the U.S. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain companies that they're a U.S. like fucking behemoth in a way. And while DAZN can be a huge hit and have rights to some really big properties in, let's say, Germany, Japan, Canada, those are also very different markets in the U.S.
Yeah.
And the U.S., it's a very crowded marketplace. And when they're losing $627 million a year right now, while these other companies are making money, ESPN's making money, Disney's making money, Fox is making money, Amazon's making money, Facebook's making money. There's a question mark. Even if you're a gigantic billionaire like what's the guy's name? I always mess up his Blavnik. Still there's a well that's going to run dry eventually. Disney's well is never going to run dry, ever, and that's just it's hard to compete against that.
Blavnik, he's got the Warner Music, right? Is it Spotify and things like that?
He's a big mogul, right? Huge.
Yeah, and they've just sold off part of their. I think now they've separated from Perform Group or something's been sold to allow more funding and investment. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll be very aggressive because I think they know they need a big US sport. And I guess if it is decided in September, we'll know pretty soon. But I believe they want to be in, what was it? What did they say? 20 countries by the end of next year.
And I've been saying this over and over again. It's like DAZN's content is great. It's the price that's the biggest issue, especially in the U.S. audience, right? It's $20 a month. That is far too much. When HBO Max just got announced, right, which is Warner Brothers' big thing, right, which is going to include like New Line Cinema, DC, HBO, a ton of different things. It's going to be their Netflix, right? It's going to be their sort of competitor to Disney Plus. That's going to be $17.99, and doing the rounds on YouTube channels for like that sort of sphere of the industry, that was far too much, and there was outcry over the pricing of that, and that's a couple bucks cheaper than DAZN, and it has HBO, DC, New Line Cinema, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, everything. Like you do have to at some point provide more content for that buck or drop the price down. At some point, they have to realize that they're asking far too much from the consumer, and even the yearly $100 is just a lot. That is a lot. It's $8.99. I'll be honest, the content doesn't really call for that. I'm just being honest at this point. Hamad saying this podcast on Spotify or Speaker only or on Stitcher. It's on, I think, most platforms. Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, everything. Moving on. Dana White had some interesting things to say about boxing, how he can fix the boxing business model. And, in this age where we're hearing more and more about this PBC sale, it worries me a little bit that we're going to get this motherfucker involved in boxing. And here's his quote. It's going to be a long one, but it's a goodie. If you look at the way that it was, hold on, let me go do it so you guys can read along with me. If you look at the way that it was in the 80s and 90s, even in the early 2000s, you had a few guys that were making money. You had Floyd, you had Pacquiao, Oscar, maybe a couple other guys. But boxing as a whole, you're talking about a ton of fighters that weren't making big money and weren't in big fights. I think the sport could be so much more. If you look at what the UFC has built over the last 20 years in our events and how many events we're doing 42 events a year. Every time you go to one of our events, they're either sold out or they break record for ticket sales. This year, we're going to break the record for ticket sales ever in UFC history. There are more tickets being sold this year than ever before in the history of the company. Okay, Trump. We continue to put on these fights. People come and see them. They're on TV free, and they're on ESPN. Well, they're not free. They're on ESPN, and they're on ESPN Plus, and then pay-per-views are now on ESPN Plus, which everybody has. Everybody doesn't have ESPN. And we're still doing $1 million gates on these things without the Mayweathers and those type of fights. You can build a business like that with boxing. Build a real business. You just got to break it and rebuild it. You know what I love about Dana White? He rambled there for a good, 2 minutes? 3 minutes? Didn't say a fucking single thing. Not a single thing was stated there. Right? Like, what were his plans to fix boxing? To sell tickets? To give fighters more money? Because his fighters aren't making money compared to boxers. So
shouldn't he be doing that in his own fucking thing at the moment?
I don't get his point here. Like, his first point is, well, back in like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, only like the top guys were making money. No one else was making money. Okay, well, to the UFC, no one's really making money. The top guys are making pennies to the dollar for what you guys are making. And then his secondary point is, we do 42 events a year and we sell a lot of tickets. Like, that's his point. And I'm just like, cool. So does Eddie Hearn. So does Top Rank. So does PBC. They do a shit ton of events a year. Right? They do nearly 40 plus events a year each. Right?
I think
and forgive me if I'm wrong. Matchroom sold like a bunch of tickets recently, right? Uh-huh. Like, like in like Wembley and Cardiff and shit like that. Breaking records. All right, am I forgetting that?
No, you're right.
So right. I fail to see why
the master plan.
why this Trump 2.0 wannabe, okay, like how he has this, like you say, master plan for boxing. Oh my God, I'm so worried. I'm so worried about him being in charge of PBC or anything in boxing. Like, he shouldn't be in imagine him owning Top Rank. You thought Bob Arum was bad, guys. At least Bob Arum understands a coherent fucking argument at 89 years old and hopped off of weed, the good weed in Vegas too. He makes more sense than fucking Dana White, who's roided out. God, this is bad.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. I'm all for another character to clown coming into the sport. He thinks. I mean, look. I know there's a lot of people respect like the UFC business model. I guess I know the fight. A lot of the time, people say fighters deserve more money, which is true. To see what happened to that dude at the weekend, he definitely deserves some money to take that shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's still going to be a long path, I think, before Endeavor maybe take over PBC. I think there's a lot more to it, and so it might be a little while before we get Dana White on our IFL interviews and behind the glove interviews and things like that. But it will be interesting to say the least. I definitely think there'll be some pettiness going around. I think Oscar will definitely have stuff to say. Regarding, I'm sure there'll be a clash of personalities on that one. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, the master plan, I didn't quite get it.
There was no plan.
Saying it's free, this, that, and the other, but it's all you have to pay for ESPN Plus. Then you have to pay for the pay-per-view. Just like people that want to watch it over here, you pay your BT subscription every month, and then this weekend was a pay-per-view, which I know upset a lot of people. Apparently, BT kind of said there wouldn't be any pay-per-views via the UFC. We would get them as part of our subscription, and then this was the first one, and apparently the only other one they're looking at is maybe Khabib, and obviously if Conor returns, but
obviously.
And slightly off topic, but not really boxing, but apparently, I don't know how true it is, but it sold less than 10,000 pay-per-view buys. Wow. But damn. I don't know how true that is. But
which is funny because in the US, I heard it did amazing, which is like good because it's the first ESPN Plus exclusive pay-per-view that's done well, honestly. Yeah. I think it did on track for like 400, 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So that's pretty good for an ESPN Plus exclusive pay-per-view. And you have to pay $5 for ESPN Plus and then another $60 for the pay-per-view.
So it's $55 basically.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, anyway, back to boxing.
Back to boxing, yes.
We're going to lose people.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Oh my God. We have all the fights to talk about this weekend, plus more news. Remember, guys, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, call in 323-870-4051. We have like 7 more topics to get to, plus fights for those that want to know how much time it's going to take. It's because it's a long show, guys. I apologize. We were off yesterday. I blame Rob. My countryman, Nordine Obali. You know what? Hold on. Before we get to the topic, I'm kind of mad and peeved, honestly, Rob, when I announced that in the group chat. Mitty didn't say a goddamn thing. Okay, Mitty didn't say, "Oh, my countryman," and give me an emoji hug. Nothing.
He done a shake my head, sacre bleu.
Not even that. I'm upset, man. I'm upset.
It is the ghost in the chat. Don't worry about it.
I know. Digressing though.
So it wasn't respond worthy.
Digressing. Nordine Obali versus Inoue. No, not that Inoue. Takuma Inoue is ordered. And the winner must face Luis Nery per Mauricio Suleiman. And Rob, I kind of just put this thing in here so I can kind of trick people when I clip this later for Obali versus Inoue. And Inoue? Nah, not that Inoue. Yeah, sorry.
I saw it. I thought, oh shit.
Right? And I was thinking, how are they ordering?
Au revoir, Obali, and then it's the other one.
And I was thinking, how are they ordering Inoue versus Obali? I'm like, oh no, it's Takuma. So, but anyways, that's a good fight still on paper too. So I'm hyped for that. And also, Obali versus Luis Nery. That fight's gonna be a fight of the year contender. I am excited for that one. Those two guys are gonna go at each other.
Yeah, Obali gets hit a bit too much.
Obali's not winning that fight. Obali's not winning that fight. But yeah. I'm telling you, Obali's going to get past Inoue, Takuma Inoue, and then face Luis Nery and get lit up. And I cannot wait for that. But digressing, moving on.
Frenchman you are.
I'm honest.
Yeah, Yoka.
Who is the best heavyweight on the planet? Let's be honest. Juan Francisco Estrada versus Dwayne.
You can say that on Patreon, but you can't say that here.
It's a joke. I'm not serious, guys. Tony Yoka is not the best heavyweight on the planet yet. Digressing.
As long as he keeps missing drug tests, he should be fine.
Yeah, he's fine, man. I mean, come on. Half of the top 10 have all popped for steroids already. We're good. Dylan White, Fury, Povetkin, Miller. They've all popped. We're good, guys. Juan Francisco Estrada versus Dwayne Beatman finalized August 24th. Whatever.
Well,
Dwayne Beatman's not bad. It's not bad.
He's the best you've got, I'm afraid.
He is the best U.S. super flyweight on BoxRec, and he's like a top
20. I think he was like 23 or something.
I was gonna say top 20-ish guy. He's not bad, but
he's like 34.
This isn't a fight that I care to see, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fights that I want to see from Estrada. Dwayne Beeman's not it. Sorry.
I know, but this is congratulations. Have a hometown fight.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand why it's happening. And honestly, he just had a tough fight, so I can see why he wants a tune-up. But it is a tune-up, in my opinion. I just can't wait for him to face, Ancajas, Yafe, Rungsvia again. Someone in that mix. I want to see those fights.
Yeah, don't be surprised to see the Yafe fight get made.
Love that fight because Yafe's gonna get wrecked. I can't wait to see it. Speaking of getting wrecked, Brian Jennings, who is trying to get cleared for a fight, is it officially?
He's good.
He's good. Okay, this was old news, but I wanted to address it. Okay, he's good. Poor Brian Jennings, R.I.P. Even slow ass Joe Joyce is gonna hit him really hard a few times and put him out, in my opinion.
How do you think? How long does this go?
We'll get to it in a second because we're going to talk about the fights as well.
Okay.
Anthony Fowler, your man. I know, Rob. That's why I'm trying to get through these news kind of fast, right? So we can talk about the fights. But it's Anthony Fowler. We got about Anthony Fowler versus Brian Rose, which I got to admit, I like this matchup.
Yep.
I really do. Coming off a loss to Fitzgerald, this is kind of a matchup. Okay, I like it.
It's supposed to be Fitzgerald, Brian Rose, but Fitzgerald got injured, and then Fowler stepped in for the fight, and then that show got cancelled, but this is now rearranged. This is the new date for it. But yeah, because Fitzgerald was supposed to fight Rose, and then it was onto the Cheeseman fight. But yeah, Fowler coming back.
Yeah, I like it.
Good. Yeah.
Stay tuned. Watch it on Sky or DAZN and support your man Robbie, because Robbie's gonna be there with his
team.
His crucifix, just praying, man. Just please, God, please do it. Knock him out. Tear his ACL, God. Anything. Help me out, please.
Shut up. Just
you have a voodoo doll of Brian Rose right next to you.
Just oh man, you are crazy. But yeah, the Team Machine shirt. That's all I'll be wearing.
Speaking of Matchroom, in a sense, they've just signed Martin Bocoli. I don't care about this. Rob put it in the top.
It's good sign in for all concerned, really. Yeah, that's good. Well, I think Bocoli was with Cyclone, so don't be surprised that once Josh Taylor's finished winning the World Boxing Super Series, that he ends up over on Matchroom's books as well.
All right, now we're gonna talk about fights this weekend, and we're gonna talk about them in chronological order because there's a shit ton of fights this weekend. And we're not going to talk about them all in depth because, honestly, we just don't have time for it, and there's too many fights. Okay. First up on Friday on DAZN in Rome, the Matchroom Italy card. Mm-hmm. Fabio Torche versus Tommy McCarthy and some other people that I don't know. I don't even know those guys, I'll be honest. But DAZN card, Italy. Next card up on... No, sorry, that's Thursday. That's Thursday card.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, Friday in Osaka, Japan. Honestly, the best card of the weekend, probably. Robert Brandt versus Ryota Maeda.
Oh, stop.
What? You don't think it's the best card of the weekend?
Hell no.
Okay, we'll have that discussion in a bit. Okay, we're going to have that discussion in a bit. Rob Brandt versus Ryota Maeda, and then Ken Shiro versus Jonathan Takaning. Yes.
That's why he thinks it's the best.
Yes, absolutely. Ken Shiro is one of the best Japanese boxers on the planet right now. Fuck out of here. Also, Lunatic is saying Torche or whatever his name is pulled out. So what? I don't know what's gonna happen to that DAZN Italy card. Don't care. But basically, that's what we have for the Osaka Japan card. Brief breakdown of that. Rob Brandt Maeda. Let's be honest. That should go the same way as the first fight. Probably even more decisively and definitively. Like I think Rob Brandt's gonna have that performance, but a better performance of that, better version of that, honestly. And
yeah, the last fight was like whatever underdog. Now he's like similar but favorite, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's complete switcheroo. But yeah, I don't know. I think Murata was completely exposed in that fight as being a poor man's Triple G.
Please tell me your card of the weekend is not the Amir Khan card.
No, it's not.
Okay. I'm like, that's a funny one. Anyways, digressing. Next up, for the weekend, Liverpool, England, ESPN Plus. I would assume this is a BT card.
MTK show.
Oh, okay. Jazza Dickens versus Nathaniel May, Martin Murray on the card, Natasha Jonas, Terry Flanagan making his comeback and going back down to 135. That's on Friday on ESPN Plus and MTK Global. Showtime on Friday, Jermaine Franklin versus Jerry Forrest and Odo Whalen versus BJ Flores.
Very quick, I was going to say the MTK show, Rocky Fielding was supposed to be on there, but he broke his toe. And to his credit, people will be like, broken toe, whatever. Thought you were a fighter. But he's pulled out before the fight. He's not fighting and then using it as an excuse.
There is a Telemundo card in Florida on Friday. Don't know who's on the card. You can watch it. I'm not. On Friday as well is the Amir Khan Billy Dib card and Harry Fury, Samuel Peter, and Prince Patel versus Michael Banquets, whatever his name is. Whatever, fuck it. I don't care about this card at all. These people are fighting. Good for them. Make money.
Very quick. The Estrada card has got Hrgovic on it, and he is fighting the guy that recently just knocked out Samuel Peter. Just for people that are wondering who Hrgovic's opponent exactly is, but I think he was like a 10-1 underdog, and he knocks over Samuel Peter in 4 rounds.
Hrgovic. What talking about Hrgovic?
I'm just like, from the Estrada card, Hrgovic is going to be on it. And for people who are wondering his opponent, because people have been like, who the fuck is that? But he was a 10-1 underdog against Samuel Peter, I think, last time out, and stopped Samuel Peter in 4 rounds.
All right, who cares about that? Moving on to Saturday now, which we're going to probably get to the card after this one that Rob is going to contend is the best card of the weekend. But first, Shakur Stevenson versus Alberto Guevara. And then Joshua Greer versus Nikolai Patapov. Some other people on the card.
It's the detail that I love. It's the detail. I love it.
What means the detail?
It's just the names correct. The in-depth take on all these fights. I love it.
Oh, yeah, because we have no in-depth takes on these fights because they don't matter.
No.
This is one of those weekends where it's a lot of fights that no one cares about. There's some fights we care about, but a lot of fights that just no one cares about. And then on ESPN Plus in London, Daniel Dubois versus Nathan Gorman, Joe Joyce, Brian Jennings, Liam Williams versus Karam Archer, whatever his name is.
Spell it out. I'll read it.
ACHOUR.
Yeah, it's like what you said.
It's like what you said. Oh, that was a good one. That was good, Rob. I'm going to remember that one. There's a bunch of fights on this undercard. I don't know who any of these guys are. Don't care. But let's talk about at least the top 2 or 3 fights. Down to Broad, Nathan Gorman. One of the better fights that's been made this year, in my opinion, just from like a stylistic perspective. Maybe the ramifications of the winner of this fight in regards of the division. I am still pretty firm in my pick. Daniel Dubois, probably 7th, 8th, maybe 9th round TKO. I think it's going to be a really fun fight. I think these two guys are going to sort of meet each other in the center, exchange in the mid-range a lot, and it's going to be about who sort of lands the first shot. I'll be honest. I think both guys are pretty comparable in terms of technique, in terms of skill, even in terms of like speed. I think these guys are like they match up almost mirror images of each other and what they want to do and how they want to do it. But I think Dubois is going to have a little bit better way of doing it. I think he is also one of those guys, I've talked about this before, he's one of those prospects that has been improving drastically fight to fight. I think when he first came on the scene as a pro, he was quite boring, didn't know how to really put his shots together, didn't really know how to land his power shots and then follow up with it. He is doing that far more often nowadays. So I'm picking down Dubois, sort of mid to late round TKO. Rob, your prediction on this heavyweight main event?
Oh, I'm really torn. I am honestly really torn. I think Gorman has definitely got the skills to take this long and get a decision. And even if he can take Dubois long, it'll be interesting to see, do those big muscles, how does he sort of fare as far as, oxygen to those muscles? Does he get super tired, and can Gorman maybe stop Dubois? And obviously Dubois, we know he's got crazy power. If he can catch you clean, it can be all over. I'm really torn on a.
It is a great fight.
Huh?
It's a great fight. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good fight. And shout out to the pair of them. Frank Warren really wanted to delay this and put this off, but both guys wouldn't back out. So it's on. I don't know. I'm really torn on a decision on this one. I don't know. I'll say Gorman because you said Dubois.
Joe Joyce, Brian Jennings. I feel like Brian Jennings is the faster guy. He's probably the more fluid boxer of the two, but he's one of those guys that just has, like, he longer in the tooth, like he's had far more wear and tear on his body. He was outboxing Oscar Rivas and on his way to a decision win and then got finished in the last round. I think Joe Joyce, he could lose every round, but if he lands a shot, I don't trust Brian Jennings right now. So in the heavyweight division, that is like the cardinal sin. If I cannot trust you to take a shot, you're compromised more so than any other division. So I'm picking Joe Joyce to win round 4 or 5 KO. Ooh. I think he's going to get outboxed for 2 or 3, 4 rounds, and then all of a sudden, boom, catch him with the shot, follow up. Brian Jennings is going to be done.
I think Joyce wins. I do. I think, but I think this could go a little longer. Joyce went, was it 6 or 7 with Stiverne, and it's just Joyce. Despite it looks like he's throwing punches underwater. He's slow. It just doesn't look. But he obviously hurts people. He obviously hits hard. Those. I don't know. It's strange because you think there's no zip on the punches. There's no like pace to anything, and he takes a whole bunch of shots just to land one. He's going to be in Brian Jennings' face all night. No, it's up to Jennings whether he can run all night. Well, not run, but keep things rangy, or whether he fancies going toe to toe and see where that ends up. But I think Joyce will get this, but I think it's going to be a pretty decent test for Joyce to see what he's learned under Adam Booth. Apparently he's worked a lot on footwork and things like that. So we'll be good to see if there is a change in his game or whether it's just a little bit too early to see those improvements coming in. But from reports that he has been working well in the gym and things like that. But yeah, I'll go with Joyce on this one. But I'll say more like I don't know, 8 or 9, something like that, around 8 or 9.
I can see that absolutely.
He seems to like bludgeon, like the punches. Like I said, there's no snap on them or anything. Like there's no hand speed, but
he kind of slaps with his palm sometimes too. Like it's weird, man. How the fuck did he win a silver medal?
Yeah, and how does he do capoeira?
But then again, like the Deontay Wilder, a guy that doesn't really have the best fundamental technique in boxing. Great power, right? But not the greatest technique.
Yeah, but at least
he won a medal.
At least he swings with like fucking like speed, and he's
no, you're right.
It's kind of like
he's an athlete. Joe Joyce is not an athlete.
Yeah. He's got a crazy engine. They got him in Juggernaut, so it's a slow diesel that takes a while to get up to any kind of speed. But once he's there,
he's like a Prius. Or he's just a Prius. Great gas mileage.
Yeah,
but no real horsepower.
Yeah, not great to look at.
No, definitely not.
But that being said, he does seem to be a bit of a wrecking machine, and it's working for him. So whatever,
it does the job. Moving on. Another DAZN card, man. So much content this weekend. Carson, California. Ray Vargas, Tomiki Kameda, Diego De La Hoya, Ronnie Rios. Who else on this card? No one of super note, to be honest. I do like that Diego De La Hoya Ronnie Rios fight, though. That is a good step up for Diego De La Hoya, who has not looked the goods, honestly. But Ray Vargas, Tomiki Kameda, as Rob has stated on other shows, for the undisputed WBC title. Will be probably one of the better action fights of the weekend too, honestly. Like, this is going to be on par with Nathan Gorman, Daniel Dubois, Ken Shiro, Takaning. You know, like, this is going to be a really good fight. I am picking Ray Vargas slightly, but, Rob, through no real, logic, because Kometa doesn't really do anything that I think is better than Ray Vargas. I don't think he has a better jab. I don't think he has better grit. I don't think he has better power. I don't think he's bigger than him. Like, there's really nothing Kometa does better or is better at than Ray Vargas. But we've seen a lot of guys get upset this year. It would not surprise me if Ray Vargas, a guy that has been fighting a lot, not really fighting the best competition at times, gets beat up by Tomoki Kometa. Would not surprise me at all. I'm picking Ray Vargas, though. Rob, thoughts on this card?
Well, interestingly, Lance Pugmire tweeted out, don't worry about Ray Vargas' weight for Saturday on the DAZN fight in Carson. The WBC super bantamweight champion is at 122.5 now. So he's bang on course for making weight, no trouble. No, I don't see an upset. I think Ray Vargas will do his thing. But yeah, just quickly wanted to jump back to the best card of the weekend. Just people to keep an eye on. Archie Sharp, really like watching Archie Sharp fight.
Also Sonny Edwards on the card. I forgot to see him.
Yeah. The vacant IBF International Super Flyweight title, and Liam Williams is, for what, I don't even know what good it is for anybody right now, but the vacant World Boxing Council silver middleweight title. So that's now been bumped down. We've got a franchise, and now the actual WBC bout is now a regular. The silver, I don't know, was it like tinfoil? The tinfoil.
I'm getting anxiety with you just mentioning all that. I'll be honest. Like, I feel like I just need to go meditate and relax after you stated all that bullshit. Last main card or big card we're going to talk about on FS1 on Saturday: Jamal James versus Antonio DeMarco, Robert Helenius versus Gerald Washington, Carlos Balderas versus Robert Frankel, Charles Martin, guys. Charles fucking Martin. Rob.
Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
The man, the myth, the legend, walks this earth like a god. Charles the King Martin. That's not his nickname, but I'm just going to say that. Guys, don't worry. It's been a long road of bad boxing, but the God is here. The King is here, Charles Martin. We've been waiting for this.
The Prince.
He's been elevated, in my opinion. If Canelo can be elevated to franchise status, he can be elevated from Prince status. Absolutely.
I think he should abdicate.
If we get one quotable thing this weekend from Charles Martin, it's a plus. It's a plus, guys. Every fight could end in DQ and be shit, but if we get one quotable line from the King himself, it's all good.
It's all worth it. Yeah,
it is. It's worth it. But back to the card and actually the substance of the event. Jamal James, Antonio DeMarco should be a easy fight for Jamal James, who's actually been looking quite decent lately. He's one of those guys that's seemingly putting it together in this sort of second stage of his career after a loss. Antonio DeMarco is a guy that is long in the tooth, that while he's been hanging on and having some decent wins lately, he also has been some bad losses, and he's also older. Naturally, a smaller guy, significantly so, since Jamal James is a giant for this division. Jamal James should win this one fairly easily, within 6 rounds, in my opinion. Robert Helenius, Gerald Washington. I think it's going to be a good fight in the sense that... let me clarify that. Good in the sense... define that as we're finally going to know how good Gerald Washington is. Because if he cannot get past Robert Helenius, then all the losses he has had against kind of decent opposition look a certain way. Because Robert Helenius is one of the most boring fighters I have ever had the displeasure of watching in my career. And Carlos Balderas, decent prospect. Can't wait to see him. Also, Gary Russell Jr. brothers are on this card. Not Gary Russell himself, but his brothers. Some of them are. So
They haven't inherited his willingness to only fight once a year. These guys are out a lot.
Yep. Hey, but come on. No one wants to fight Gary Russell, man. Leo doesn't want to fight him, obviously. Gervonta Davis is ducking that work because he only fights bad 126 pounders, not good 126 pounders. Come on.
Yeah. I'm not really worried about the PBC card, which will help everyone in the chat that thinks I'm an Eddie Hearn fanboy. Jamal James, I don't know. I think he's failed to live up to sort of the promise. I think I think he was highly touted at one point, but I don't think he's kind of fell off a little bit now, personally.
Maybe. Last fight we mentioned is Tony Yoka, who's fighting this weekend on Saturday against Alexander Dimitrico, which actually is a decent heavyweight fight. It's off TV. You can't watch it unless you find it on stream. It's in France.
Have you not French TV, Matt?
What was that?
Have you not got French TV in your household?
No, we don't, man. We don't.
You still got the Portuguese channel.
We still got the Portuguese channels because it's a new discovery that we're French. But I like that fight for Tony Yoka against Alexander Dimitrico, who last faced Andy Ruiz, right, and lost in February or something like that.
It was wasn't it the Spence Garcia card? Maybe I can't remember, but yeah, March.
No, I don't think it was Spence Garcia.
It was later than that because then Ruiz was straight into camp for Joshua, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't the Danny Garcia Fox card. I think it was the Danny Garcia Fox card because I think it was at the StubHub. But anyways, digressing, or the Dignity Health and Sports Center, or whatever it's called now. Digressing, that is it for the news, it for the fights. Let's go to callers. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Rob, you want to say something to me?
I was just going to say, check the one-on-one, just a little bit on the Joshua announcement.
As I pull it up. Oh, it's funny. You know what? The first thing that popped up was not that. It was the Serrano thing.
No, in the one-on-one chat.
I know. But that's why it was funny.
Yeah. Buddy.
Jordan, relax, man. It's okay. He doesn't listen. Hopefully. Matchroom boxing promoter Eddie Hearn hoped to now have had a decision from former heavyweight. This is my first time reading it, so I don't know what this is. Heavyweight title judge Anthony Joshua, and where he wanted to have his contractual mandated fall rematch with Andy Ruiz, who scored a monumental upset, take his belts by a 7th-round knockout. Dan, just get to the fucking point. Jesus Christ.
News. Do it Coppinger style.
Oh, my God. Good. The decision was either the return to New York, Madison Square Garden, decide the first fight where Joshua made blah, 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 blah. We have a few late approaches from other sites that delayed things. Expected to decide this weekend. Still, UK and US are the favorites. So, again, Dan Rayfield reporting news that is not news. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Rob. Anything else from you, Rob? Gary, no. Call in. Gary, call in. Leonard, Kaz, Anonymous, all of you guys in the chat, call in. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers on Skype. Kaz, I love when you give Rob shit because it's funny. Give him shit by calling in and talking to him.
Give shit.
I mean, he just, not right now, but just generally speaking, he gives you shit, right?
Kaz, even a he?
I would assume so. It's YouTube, man. Look, our listener base on YouTube is like 95% men and like 5% women. I do not think Kaz is the 5% women.
95% men, 5% Kaz. Okay.
No, that's Niger. Come on, man. Niger's the 5%.
Oh, of course, yeah, Niger. Yeah.
Oh, and sorry, Niger and Vicky, because I know Vicky's listening somewhere. I don't want to disrespect the first lady of MCR.
No, she's watching Tommy Fury on Love Island right now.
Obsessed.
Did you see Boxrec Gray? He put out, "I love living in a world where Tommy Fury is getting more searches than Canelo." And people are like, what the hell? What do you mean Tyson Fury? He's like, no, Tommy. They don't realize he's on Love Island reality show over here right now.
Kaz, I can't call in. I would ruin my persona. Kaz, I'll be honest with you. You don't have a persona.
He does. He's the super chat deleter.
Good times.
This Kaz.
Oh my God. Okay, let's call Santiago. Well, let's not call him. He's called us. Go to his call. Santiago, what's up, man?
Hey guys, what's up? Another Wednesday. Traffic wasn't so bad today. Listening to one of my favorite podcasts right now. Coming up with some different trivia questions to give you guys later.
Oh fuck.
And
Let me get Google ready.
yeah.
Get Google
And
ready.
anyways, I'll give it to you guys later. But first and foremost, I look forward to the Showbox card, so I'll be catching that, and if not, I'll be DVRing that anyways. So at least 4 cards I'm looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to the Dubois-Gorman fight, mostly because Gorman's trained by Ricky Hatton, and I'm a big Ricky Hatton fan. There's only one man that's ever deserves to have that Wonderland song, and it's Ricky Hatton. Everybody else can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned.
Let them know. Let them know.
Yeah, speak that truth, man.
So is that the best card of the weekend, you think, Santi?
Oh, yeah, Santi.
One of the 2 best.
Well, no, but in your opinion, what is the best card this weekend?
Honestly, it would be the DAZN card, and I probably got a little bit of bias for that because of the fact that it's Tomoki fighting, and I am excited and happy to see Tomoki back on TV, even if it is on DAZN or whatnot. Because I remember seeing Tomoki fight the first time when he was on Showtime defending his WBO belt. I saw his 2 CBS fights. I shared the links in the group chat with you, Matt. And honestly, I remember in the rematch with McDonald, I was writing out my fight chat result. I had everything lined up to basically say that. Hang on a second.
Did you tell us to hang on, Santiago?
Yeah, we'll just pause the show.
The disrespect, Santi. The audacity.
Screaming kids, man. I'm screaming kids, man. I doubt you want to hear screaming kid sound bites.
That's probably true. Thank you.
Anyways, I swear that to this day I had Kameda beating McDonald in the rematch. I don't know what anybody else saw. I don't know if you saw the fights, but that's how clear to me that result was. I already had the whole thing written out. I was just waiting for them to basically make it official. So I'm happy to see him back in action. He's been keeping busy. I think he's on a 5-fight win streak right now, and I think he's got the boxing acumen to outwork his way to a decision over Ray Vargas. I think he can take advantage of the fact that because Vargas is pretty tall for that weight class, he can stay in close, box on the inside, and just work those angles to get himself to the decision win. Because I like Vargas. I think Vargas is a guy that does know how to use his physical attributes the same way our own Ferngully does. But at the same time, I feel that sometimes he's been a little more susceptible than we'd like him to be. His last 2 performances for me weren't really that great. And so I think that a guy like Kameda is going to really put him out there and have him have to put out his best work. Because if he's not ready for a guy like Kameda, I don't know who's going to be ready for. Your thoughts on that?
I'm still picking Ray Vargas. I think Ray Vargas has looked rather good as of late. His competition hasn't been the best, but he's fought quite well. And plus, I feel like he has, when we talked about Machado losing recently, right? I feel like Machado and Ray Vargas are good parallels because they do fight in a similar way. They have similar body types compared to the division and overall. Ray Vargas can fight on the inside. And also Ray Vargas can keep people on the outside with his jab. So I feel like Kameda is going to have some issues both on the inside and on the outside because he's not going to be the one determining where he's fighting. I think Ray Vargas is going to be the one determining sort of the real estate of the fight, sort of the range of the fight, and that will be the way he sort of wins rounds and sort of is able to control combinations and control engagements with Kameda and probably win a 7-5, 8-4 decision.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely, if he establishes that real estate early on, I think it's his fight to lose at that point, definitely. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say. I want to give a special shout-out to Nigel for winning her fight.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to have met her when I was out on the East Coast. So kudos to you. You had a really good right hand to boot, too, that you landed. So everybody's listening to the show, share, subscribe, hit that like button. You know, there are a lot of times where Matt and Rob's running late, or Matt's, you know, sick, but they always try to keep the show running and going and give us the best quality content that they can give us.
Thank you for the call, Santi. Thank you, Leonard, with another super chat saying I'm a typer, not a talker. Whatever. We do have some breaking news. Hold on. Let me get to it really fast. Rob, can you talk for a second?
Yeah. Obviously, thanks to everyone in with the super chats and for the thumbs up, things like that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I've applied for Dubois and Gorman to be there as media credentials. Haven't heard anything back yet. I don't know if that's good or bad.
How far out is the fight?
It's Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think you got it.
Yeah, all right.
But that's weird they didn't send you an email back saying like, nah, you got denied. Usually they do that. Like every time like I've applied and I've not been accepted, like I always get an email back saying, hey, denied. I'm like, depressed me.
Back. And obviously I've applied for Dillian White and Rivas, but I haven't heard back off that either.
Are you this is gonna sound weird, but are you using Mixed Combat Radio's email and website as like references?
I'm saying Mixed Combat Radio YouTube channel and using my own email, but
use Mixed Combat Radio email. Trust me, that might help.
Okay,
that might help. It just saying. But anyways, we have some breaking news.
Good.
Breaking news from Keith Idek. Hasn't had one of these in a while. Good for him. If Shakur Stevenson wins Saturday night, negotiations will begin right away for a Stevenson-Oscar Valdez fight for Valdez's WBO featherweight title. Valdez could decide to move up to 130 pounds. Then Stevenson, the WBO's mandatory challenger, would fight the next available contender for the vacant belt. Rob, Shakur Stevenson fighting Oscar Valdez most likely next. What happened to Frampton Valdez, Warrington Valdez? Those were fights that were
Frampton's got a fight. He's fighting, I think it's in Philadelphia. He's against the guy that Jordan Gill knocked over impressively. So it was just to kind of look good and get back. And the Valdez fight was the plan. I think, Warren and everyone kind of spoke on that. So maybe Shakur gets there first, or maybe Frampton gets it. But, maybe Valdez wants to move up anyway, or I don't know. But, yeah.
Quickly, Anonymous in the chat saying, Frank Warren ain't going to let any cousin of Eddie get credentials to the fight, Rob. Come on, bro. Denounce Eddie and you may get credentials. That was good. That was fun.
Eddie Hearn is not my cousin.
It's funny because I still get the occasional is that true? I'm like, no.
Yeah, all right.
or the times I get that and I go yes, it's 100% true. Rob's his second cousin, twice removed, and that's why we don't get any funding from Matchroom, because he's twice removed. Digressing though, I think Shakur Stevenson versus Valdez makes sense for Top Rank, and at this point, you can have this fight and Shakur will win and have that sort of big, moment on ESPN beating Valdez. And Valdez does decent numbers still on ESPN compared to the rest of the sort of Top Rank stable at this point. But Rob, I do think that is actually it for today.
Gary, you were here earlier. I'm not talking to you anymore. You can't just keep popping up in the chat and then not having your usual half-hour rant that Matt told you about. But yeah, thanks everybody again for being here. One of these days I will be in front of these people with camera. They obviously don't want this smoke. They don't want those difficult questions or me dribbling going, oh look, it's Eddie. Or something like that. I don't know. But
you're totally gonna fangirl out.
Yeah. I'll get it out, but don't worry. But yeah, I'll be there one day. I'll get that thumbs up reply from one of these people. But in the meantime, I'll be here talking about whatever's going on. Hopefully Matt cheers up with boxing as there's some actual fights come in, you know.
You think I'm joking. I was serious when I was like, Fu, get your graphic designer. We're creating some new logos for some different channels. Yes. The brand is expanding, guys.
We'll stop applying then.
No, you keep applying. It's okay. Nick Scott Radio is not going anywhere. Don't worry. Anyways, guys, you can find me, Mac Hunter, MCR, all platforms. If you guys enjoy the show, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Find Rob, UK Rob, MCR, all platforms. Have a great day, great night, great morning, wherever you are. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Stay off the weed.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?